Good morning, Danj. Let's put that volume down a little bit. So, I'm here. It is the Friday after Thanksgiving. I'm full of turkey. I've got my coffee. Ready to watch some Overwatch.
Yep.
So you're using mic communication. Really good. Start off. I think your mic is a bit low, and somebody comments on a little bit later, so you might want to work on that. But outside, pretty great. So we're going to be taking a look at you playing Mercy. I am not great with Mercy. My Mercy is maybe a platinum level, low plat. But, you know, there are certain basic things with Mercy that everybody should know, everybody should follow. I appreciate anybody who plays her because it makes it where we have that constant healing and I don't have to play her, basically. So the main things with Mercy are going to be that you want to have that awareness, okay? So especially at this level of the game, you know, people are going to struggle with aim, struggle with the basics, you know. So Mercy that can hear everything that's going on, is constantly looking around for what's going on, is constantly moving between her team, is going to stay alive and kind of be the bane of the enemy team's existence. They'll be able to kill you with ults here and there, but they're not going to be able to reliably kill you. And that's kind of where you want to get with this character, especially, like I said, at this level, you know, silver and maybe even gold. All right, so here we go. So I like that you're with your team. I like that you're damage boosting. I would probably damage boost Hanzo here as opposed to Orisa, but you know, the fact that you're damage boosting anyone is great. Your Hanzo went out there and your Torbjorn went out there and killed himself. So I'm glad you're not going out to res him. I don't know why he did that, but now what you've got to watch here. Okay, and I'm going to pause it for a second. So, and actually roll it back a couple seconds. So this is what I'm talking about with your awareness of what's happening. Okay, so there's nobody coming down the middle. Okay, and what you start to see here on the right side is you see that Symmetra is starting to take damage. Okay, so that should be your cue instantly to let your team know, you know, to fly over and say, hey, they're coming from the right. Okay, so I'm going to pause it hopefully right here where you can see it. Okay, see? Right here. This is where you're starting to see shots come in. This is where your Symmetra's at. That's what you want to pay attention to right now. I know that you're damage boosting your Orisa, but you need to change over and start doing a little bit of healing here so you can see your Symmetra turn yellow there, so she's starting to take some damage. So you got to start healing, okay? So you've got 2 criticals here, and you did switch over to on Orisa to start doing the healing on her as opposed to damage boosting. But, you know, now you're in the mode of you've got to keep your team alive. Okay, so you can't sit here and pocket Orisa. You want to get her up to where her critical is kind of gone, or go over to Symmetra since she's actually closer, you know, to who's killing her. So remember, Orisa has a shield. Like I said, bring her up just a tiny bit, and then if you can, get over and get Symmetra.
I'm almost dead.
Okay, Sim died. So it just happens. Now, now you've got your Roadhog, but he's healing himself. Okay, so this is something that I see with lower level play on Mercy, and this isn't to comment anything about you being a player or anything. I read that you said you play Mercy because nobody else will, so I appreciate that. What happens is that people tend to get kind of blinders and they just kind of pocket somebody. They just stay on somebody, you know, and keep healing them forever and ever. Your job is not... Once in a while, it is to stay on somebody and pocket them, usually when you're the only 2 left. But your job is more to keep your team alive. Okay, so you're not topping people off. You're not going and staying on somebody for a minute straight, 30 seconds straight. You're trying to keep everybody alive. Okay, so if at all possible. Now, in this case, we've got, it looks like 4 people on point. 1, 2, 3, 4. Possibly another one I can't see over here. So it might just be you and Orisa left, but I think Roadhog was over here inside here. So just pay attention to that. Know how many people you still have alive, and make sure you move around and keep out of the line of sight of anybody who's trying to, you know, get rid of you so that they can end the fight. Okay, so there's a Roadhog over on the right. I like that you went behind the shield. I like that you're going towards Roadhog. Okay, you've got 4 criticals here, or excuse me, 3 criticals here. So let's see what happens. Okay, Okay, so Zarya just took out, I think, your Torbjorn, and then definitely took out your Hanzo, and that was over here to the left. So this is why I'm talking about you have to be aware and not just stay on the same person. Okay, so if you're able to keep your team up, even if it's 2 people instead of 1 person or 3 people instead of 2 people, you stand a better chance at winning that fight because you have more people there. With just the Orisa here, we'll see what happens. Okay, so your team's coming back. Orisa got wiped. I believe Amy. Nope, she's actually still up there. So Orisa's still up there. Your team came back. There she goes. Okay, that was actually a really good moment of awareness there. So something that don't always see in that level of play. You heard teleporters online. You instantly turned around, went back, and took it. So that was great. Okay, great res. Res one of your tanks. Pop ult right now. There you go. Great. Now res somebody else. You've got Sim down. Okay, you've got Sim down. Or you've got your Orisa down. There you go. That works too. Good work, good work.
Good hold.
Support kept the team in the fight there with the teleporter and the Valkyrie.
I'm good. Yep. Sim, piece of advice, space out your turrets so they can't just wipe them out in one stroke.
And I watched this a little bit before. I do like this Orisa guy. He's helpful and positive. It's something you don't find a whole lot often. Okay, so you're taking damage up front. There you go.
I got ult.
Heal Sim.
Need heals.
Bunny hop.
Go, go.
Bunny hop, bunny hop. Okay. So one thing I've noticed watching you play that you don't make use of, and I think somebody mentioned in the thread, is the bunny hop. Okay, so what the bunny hop is whenever you lock on to somebody, as soon as you hit that button to start Guardian Angel to them, to go over to them, hit the jump button, and that's going to make you move faster. It's just going to kind of slingshot you over there. So especially if you have like a Genji ult or Soldier ult or anything that's really close to you and really scary, hit that, and it's more likely that you will survive it. It doesn't mean you will survive, but it gives you a little bit extra chance, like I said, especially at this level where people are going to struggle with aim and stuff like that, to get away from the action. So make sure and use that bunny hop. Just get used to using it. It's not difficult. Like I said, all it is as soon as you do that Guardian Angel, hit the jump, and that's just going to kind of propel you forward.
Damn it, so am I.
Okay, so they used a few ults, won the team fight there. Nothing terrible with that. I think they used 3 ults, and that's one other thing you want to get used to thinking about, is how, especially as Mercy, because believe it or not, you're one of the shot callers as Mercy, because you can see everything that's happening. You should be able to hear everything that's happening. You should be looking around a lot to see what might be coming around the corner. So they just used 3 ults there. They used Genji Blade, they used Valkyrie, and they used Grav, I believe it was. So you got to know those kind of things, and that's going to help your team. Let them know, hey, this is coming in. Okay, so when you feel like Zarya probably has her Grav again, then you're going to say, hey, don't stand too close together because Zarya has Grav. I like that you're standing behind cover here, standing around the corner instead of being in the middle of everybody. I like the Guardian Angel, or excuse me, the Valkyrie there, but you got to heal your Reaper. There you go. And keep in mind, in this mode, you want to keep, whenever you're ulting, you want to keep your heal beam or your boost beam on the person in the middle of the pack, and then it's going to distribute to everybody at the same time. So try and keep it on that person in the middle as often as you can. Bunny hop, bunny hop. Okay, so stop it right there. Roll back a couple seconds. So we're at 720. Let's go back to 715. Okay. Actually, a little bit further back than that. So let's go back to 711. Okay, the second you pull out your pistol, or almost the second you pull out your pistol, okay, you have critical. My perfect circles here. Critical. Excuse me, and maybe even somebody off screen who's critical. So I'm also somewhat of a battle mercy, but there's a time and a place. Okay, and this is neither. So you need to make sure that your team, if you are going to battle mercy, you need to make sure one of two things: either your team is pushing the other team back, and all you're doing is adding a little bit of extra damage because the other team is on the run, or you're the only one left or being focused by somebody and nobody is helping. So then you've got to pull out your pistol. In this particular fight, you should be healing to keep your team alive. So we'll see what happens here. Whoop. Do not need to draw anymore, so we'll cancel that out.
Kill Zarya with me? Shit. Thanks, Widow.
Okay, I like the res on Reaper.
Surprised we have a Widow.
You got to heal, though. Okay, so again, we'll go back to 725 here, or 724, 720.
Thanks, Widow.
So you res the Reaper, which is good. Okay, but then you've got somebody up there who was critical. Can't do anything about that. They just died. But right here in front of you, I think this is Roadhog, you've got somebody critical as well when you've pulled out your pistol. So again, when you have people next to you who are critical, do not pull out your pistol. You're doing less to help the team than you would be if you were healing. So make sure you're healing whoever's critical, because if this Roadhog or whoever this is over here that's critical dies, then you've got less damage, a lot less damage being done, a lot less space control happening here, especially with the Roadhog.
Surprised we have a Widow. Wow, we just got wiped. We need a different style of DPS. It's obviously not working. Yes. Or maybe,
Okay. Good communication, asking for somebody to switch, and they're already a second ahead of you, so, very good.
Ah, there's a fucking Genji behind me the whole time. Imagine that.
Okay. Bad choices. I don't know if this is one of those that you wish you could take back, or if you'd do it again, but whenever that happens, okay, and we'll go back here a second, and I do it myself, so this is not a silver thing or gold thing or whatever, like I said, I'm Masters, but I'm Platinum Mercy. So as a Platinum Mercy, I've done this myself. I say, you know what, Roadhog is important, he's almost dead, he's critical, I'm going to go in and save him. But when you do that, you just went past the Zarya, and now you're with 1, 2, 3, I think here. You've got the Pharah, you've got the Orisa, you've got the Lucio, and Zarya behind you. I mean, you're dead. Regardless of what happens at this point, you're dead. You've went right into the middle of the enemy team. That's a place you never, ever want to be by yourself or even with another person. So, unfortunately, Roadhog made a bad decision. He has to deal with it, but you don't want to add another death to it. You don't want to take out, a healer like Mercy, just to go in and try and do that. So let him be, let him die.
Good call with May. Let's regroup.
Form up. Devon group up.
May. Why May?
Okay, if you're, I like the damage boost again. I would probably damage boost Soldier if I had the choice, but I do like this. Orisa seems to be doing a little bit of work, so might be all right on the Orisa. Do not. No. So you're rezzing Roadhog there into a no-win situation. There's a grab. The whole other enemy team is there. They're shooting at everything. So what you're doing there is adding to their ult charge. Okay, so there's nothing that Roadhog's going to be able to do there. Now you're res cooldown is on 30 seconds, so bad decision there. You know, it's almost the same as a desperation ult, right? You know, so you're a Zarya and you're almost dead, so you're gonna throw out your grav. You know, or you're a soldier and you're almost dead, so you're gonna put on visor. Same thing here. You don't want to be almost dead as Mercy in the middle of something like that and use your res to, you know, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, I'm about to die, but I can put one more person here for them to have to deal with. But your team's already wiped as it is, so you're just giving them ult charge at that point.
So am I. Sorry, you got me.
Okay, and there goes
Damn, that
Roadhog.
bear is just wrecking us.
A speedy
Well,
group
I
up
got
here.
ult if anybody wants to combo. Soldier, would you like to combo?
Oddly enough, I didn't really care one way or the other about using pistol there. Your team wasn't there yet. You probably should have waited on your team, but you know, it's kind of
Why is
whatever.
nobody, like,
Yeah, you
going
usually want to
to
make
the
sure
lane?
your team is in front of you as
Why is
Mercy,
everyone
even if
hanging back?
you spawn before everybody else, unless there's absolutely no other option. Okay, pop your ult, pop your ult, pop your ult, pop Valk. Oh. Okay. Maybe next time. So, you know,
Yeah, I'm on
they've
point.
got it
Back in.
2 meters away, or less than 2 meters away, whatever that number is. I think it's 70, so it might be, you know, 0.24 meters. Everything goes. You know, if you've got your ult, pop it. You know, it doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter how many people are on point. You know, you're in desperation mode at that point. You're not holding on to anything. So especially with that Mercy ult, which is a really powerful Valkyrie, you know, that could win you the team fight here. So go ahead and pop that Valkyrie if you have it.
A speedy recovery.
Go, Winston, go. 60 seconds.
Pop Valk. Pop it. Pop it, pop it, pop it.
I'm taking care.
There you go.
Mercy's almost dead. Yeah.
Damage boost. So you can damage boost whenever you hear that kind of clicking noise. If you damage boost, you're gonna do more damage. Okay, so
Somebody get this
pretty
out
sure
of
that's the
that.
case with May's ult. I'd have to look it up, but the only ult that I can think of that doesn't help with Mercy damage boosting is
Nice one.
Junkrats
Time is running out.
Good work, May.
Everyone get on the
and
Told you it wasn't
Torbjorn's.
game over. So we got this. We got
Unless
this.
he's actively shooting people, not just using his turret.
You needed a doctor?
Okay, your May doesn't know about
May,
right click, so
why?
that's unfortunate. But you know, you guys managed to hold him back right there.
Everybody, bring it down.
So you just see ult after ult after ult is coming out here. You know, both teams trying to win the team fight.
My ultimate is charging.
May, these walls are cancer for our team.
Okay, you gotta GA a little bit more. You gotta move around between your heroes a bit more so you don't die.
Damn it, and fucking Farah. Do we have nobody to kill Farah? We really do have nobody to kill Farah. Oh, and we lost Roadhog.
A clean bill of health.
Point, Lucio.
I did.
You needed a doctor? Gemeinsam kämpfen wir.
Great keeping Winston up. Good choice. He's gonna build your ult fast. You're already up to 75 and climbing fast. Hey, remember, move around fast. Bad. So kind of the
I'm
same
just trying
thing
to get them
there
off the point for 3 seconds.
as what happened with the Zarya ult. So I don't know if it was conscious and you heard Genji's ult go off and you said, I'm going to try and get, you know, Junkrat up before I die. But probably not the best situation or idea in that case. Probably hold on to your cooldown. If you were next to somebody like, you know, say like a Orisa, you know, on your team or a Roadhog on your team, maybe try it because then they might be able to last through that particular ult. But in general, I'd probably just save that, you know, and hope for the best.
That's all it takes. Well, right now it's going to take 1 second. We did lose our Roadhog, Jesus Christ.
Yes, get the mercy, get the mercy.
A clean stop the payload.
Get on payload. Nice one, Junk. Nice.
So it worked out in the end. You know, your team was
I
good
told
at
you we
stalling, and the other team was
Lucio
not
for
real
the-
good at picking people off when they should have. So the main advice from that round, I would say, is that you want to make sure that you know when you're popping your ult, when you want to do your res, when it makes sense, especially with this new change to Mercy, where she has to stand still pretty much for a minute and 75 seconds, or a minute,
So,
1.75
I'm thinking
seconds.
Dive comp, yeah.
You want to make sure and you know it's going to go off. You don't want to set yourself up on a silver platter for the
need
other
a
team to kill you.
Reaper.
And you did that a couple times.
Perfect.
But like I said, I understand what was going through your head.
I guess we should have some kind of
But
hit
you
scan, so
have to
Soldier
just be
would
aware
nice
of the
as
situation.
well.
And while we're picking, I'll talk about, I watched one of your other rounds too, where you were on Junkertown. And twice in that one, I noticed that you could actually hear above you when you're getting towards the end of that map. You could hear above you the Reaper
Yeah, you
walking
never know. Maybe
around.
they're really good with
And that almost always means Reaper's about to drop down and ult on you.
Look at
So
how high I am.
if you don't have headphones, or if you don't have them turned up a whole lot, or if you're just not paying attention, you want to make sure and pay attention to those audio cues, because those audio cues are going to help you with your team. They're going to help keep your team alive. And if you, like I said on my other video with 8byte, the more your team stays alive, the more team fights you're going to win, the more games you're going to win. Okay, so especially as Mercy, you might not think it. You might think, I'm just here to help people, stay
I can't
alive
hear what
or
you're
heal
saying,
them,
especially when
and
you
that's
start
it.
to get into
With
combat,
Mercy or
then your mic is
Zenyatta,
just
you are the
like
shot
completely
caller on the
drowned out.
team. You should be able to see everything. You should be able to hear everything. You're letting your team know, this is coming in or that's coming in, or there's something around the corner. So just kind of get used to that.
Run, Forrest, run!
Same thing if you play Lucio.
Yeah, left. Damn it. I was gonna boop him.
Maintaining connection.
You should be healing on your diva.
Let's get you back out there.
Okay, so remember, your job is to keep people alive, or
bad.
in Diva's case, in her mech. Nope. Okay, so again, I see what you're trying to do, but since they made that change to Mercy, if it had been 2 weeks ago, I would have said, great, get your Lucio back up. Let's get back into the fight. You've got 2 healers again instead of just 1 healer. But now that they've made that change, all you have to do is be stunned, and you can see you didn't res Lucio, but you did lose your cooldown there. Okay, so you got stunned, you lost your cooldown, Lucio's still dead, you're dead, so now your team has no healers. So like I said, 2 weeks ago, great decision. Today, not so much. You're just going to die like you did to the Genji there. So just be aware of that as well with the changes.
Yeah, fine. We'll regroup. We'll just regroup.
It's so slow now.
I know. I hate that.
I must go where I'm needed.
Both healers are down, so kind of watch out for that, guys.
Yep, we're on our way though.
Okay, your team is grouping up. It's a good thing.
Enemy Lucio behind.
The other team should not be in here with this Junkrat, but he's kind of backing off a little bit. But I like that you're damage boosting
Was nobody
Junkrat.
else
Make sure
in
and
there
heal him
anymore?
as well.
Nobody else?
There you go.
Okay, that was great.
Now your diva, I don't know what your diva is doing by herself over there, maybe trying to flank or something, but now, so this is kind of what I was talking about. You might get credit for the assist or whatever, but unless something's changed, damage boost doesn't do anything for Junkrat's Rip Tire. So as soon as he pulls that, unless you want to stick around and make sure he stays alive, by healing him, I would probably go on to the rest of your fight. You can see that somebody over here is critical, so you should be up there with them at that point.
No, it doesn't. It's just like what's his face? Soldier. It doesn't boost his.
I like that res. Nobody was paying attention to you. You had a second to get off there. So you should be okay. So the diva, so it's kind of hard to say what I would have done in that situation, because on one hand, your diva was kind of your only escape route there, but on the other hand, Torbjorn had just pulled his Molten Core, so I don't know if either one of them necessarily would have been a better decision than the other. I probably would have gone with the D.Va right there, just so I'm not down in this kind of kill box area in the middle alleyway right there, road, whatever that is. But you probably would have died either way.
Sorry about that.
Okay, we need to like regroup and actually get some kind of plan going here because we keep trickling in one at a time.
I like your Lucio. he's got some good ideas, I think. Okay, so a second or two late there to healing Winston,
My
but
ultimate is ready.
you got to him and did the right thing.
Well then, come to me.
Okay, D.Va's going to do her ult. Heal Winston. I like the ult there. Great time for an ult.
We need a
Damage boost. Damage
D.Va.
boost, damage boost.
We need you to take
Okay,
out
so this is something that's difficult to get used to with this new ult. So you really have to watch your team. I try and get high enough to where I can see everybody if at all possible. But you really have to see your team, see where their health is at. If nobody's showing critical or if everybody's showing pretty much full health, you want a damage boost because that damage boost is going to help you to wipe out the other team. As soon as you start seeing people falling in health, especially critical, you want to go back to healing. But whenever you can, do that damage boost. That's going to help your team. You know, that adds, I think, 30% to the damage, so it's going to help wipe that other team out as fast as possible.
Motherfucker.
Okay, you got 2 criticals and your pistol's out. It should not be. You need to stay on healing. Your D.Va is dying, and you're on healing. Okay,
That's
so
exactly
you need to
why
be healing at that
he
point.
always kills everybody.
60 seconds remaining. A speedy recovery.
Oh boy.
Okay, you've got one more push left. Hopefully your team waits for each other.
Don't push too far.
It looks like this Winston is going to go in one way or the other. Nope, there he stopped. Okay, great.
This is gonna be our last push, guys. So we got to do
Guys,
something
let's
with
group
it.
up. We're going left by the looks of it.
Left top, left top.
I can barely hear you, but I like that you're telling your team, you know, this is the direction we're
Damn it,
going.
Tracer, Farah,
That's
everybody
great.
Just keeps being shitty.
Okay, get over and heal, Farah.
I got the turret.
Get over and res, Farah. You need to res.
Mercy's hit.
Get, there's nobody around her. Go res Farah. All right. So you drop down into the middle of it. This is kind of what I was talking about. So you don't want to be down there in that situation. You don't want to put yourself in an easily killable
Goddamn,
situation.
Teammates are just
And
not being shitty.
that's what
Not
happened.
shitty players, like they play fine. Just shitty communication and teamwork.
I like this guy. Even when he's being toxic, he says, "I'm not toxic. People are great, but you know, they suck." So anyway,
Yeah.
now I'm going to kind of turn the volume down on this for a second and just talk for a second. So the main advice that I would give you if you're going to play Mercy, you know, and like I said, I saw in the thread where you said you usually play Zen or other characters, but you play Mercy to try and give your team a better chance. So if you're going to play Mercy, you need to concentrate on 3 things. Okay, the first is that you want to be moving around through your team as much as possible. Okay, you don't want to sit on one person, pocketing that one person forever. You want to make sure that everybody's going to stay alive. Okay, that's function number 1. That's the main point of Mercy, is you want to keep your team alive. Okay, the second point is you don't want to take out your pistol unless absolutely necessary. Okay, you don't want to take out your pistol to be in the middle of a team fight especially when your other teammates are critical. Okay. And let's look at your settings here. Hopefully you're about to bring up Mercy settings. I'll keep watching. So that's point number 2. And point number 3 is you've got to be that hyper-aware person. Okay, you've got to be looking around, seeing what's coming towards your team, when the ults are coming in, things like that. You want to make sure you're on top of that to try and tell your team, hey, you know, Grav's about to come in, don't stand too close to each other, or Reaper's above us, you know, he's about to drop down an ult. Stuff like that you really want to be paying attention to, because that's going to help keep your team alive, win you more team fights, win you more games. In general, I would say if I could change anything about you, about your play, I would say do not stay on the same person forever, and do not pull out your pistol as often as you do. Those two things, I think if you change those two things, you go around from person to person, make sure, not that they're topped off, but make sure that they stay alive, and you don't pull out your pistol in the middle of those team fights, especially when your people on your team are critical. I think you're going to win a lot more games, especially at this level. So if you make those two changes, I saw your career high there was in gold. I think you will get back to gold. Just make those two changes, be hyper aware there, like I said, of stuff happening around you, and it's going to be pretty easy in the end, I think. So that's it for today. Hopefully you appreciate this. I know you're asking for some feedback, so hopefully it works for you. Like I said, appreciate anybody in there playing Mercy Play, and it was fun watching the video. Good luck, man.